What is going on? Take a seat, because today we're talking Fi, Rising Rebellion. So the last time we left off, or the last video I made, I kind of talked about a Fi core and cards that, as they were spoiled, I could see going into his core, and what cards you kind of wanted to have in, what cards you wanted to look out for in a classic constructed viewpoint. And so today I've updated my thoughts. I've updated my list. I actually have compiled a list that I will link below. But I'll kind of walk you through the reasoning between what cards got picked and why. And I'm going to skip the equipment for now, and we're going to go straight into the cards. I will say, I guess it's important to say that the weapon we are selecting is the Searing Emberblade. We're not going with Kodachis. Our goal is to build Draconic Chain Links, and Searing Emberblade does that instead of two non-Draconic Chain Links with the Kodachis, and then Kodachis requiring a blue to be in the pitch zone. This is a 2-costed once per turn attack. If you control 2 or more Draconic Chain Links, Searing Emberblade has Go Again, coming at your opponent for 3 damage. So I just think this is a better option and more consistent for what Fi wants to do in his game plan. So with that being said, we have the Emberblade as our weapon, and obviously Fi as our hero. The first card that I wanted to bring up is Brand with Cinderclaw. So in that original core that I made, I did not talk about this card. I was kind of underestimating this card. And I've come up with 50 cards that I think want to be your core and stay in your deck at all times. And then that's 20 cards to fill that other 10 to 13 card slot, however many cards you want to put in the deck. So we got a 50 card main deck and then a 20 card sideboard, just cards that go in the deck. So that's 70. And then 10 equipments that we'll talk about later at the end. So Brand with Cinderclaw is one of our staples that stays in the deck, I think, at all times. So we have 3 red Brand with Cinderclaws that you want in at all times. The reason being is because it's a 0-cost attack for 3 power with Go Again. The text does not really matter for us. Your next attack this combat chain is Draconic in addition to its other card types. We're not really playing non-Draconic or Draconic Ninja attacks anyway. However, the 0 for 3 Go Again is the real reason it's in here. This is a great card to start our combat chain and build upon a Draconic Chain Link, because a lot of our other cards want to come after a card rather than be the one that actually starts the chain link itself. Not all of them, but some of them. So this is a 0-cost, 3 Go Again, super consistent. Obviously only blocks for 2, but that's the trade-off that we are paying to have these long combat chains. Is blocking is going to be an issue, and I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. So 3 Brand with Cinderclaw is in our 50 card core. Next, doing a similar thing in a no text fashion is Ronin Renegade. So we talked about this in the last video I made. I think you want 3 red Ronin Renegade and 3 blue. It's a good blue because the blue would be a 1 Go Again. That's annoying for your opponent. Pitches for 3. And we need to get blues in this deck. We want around 15 to 18 blues. And so I think Ronin Renegade is a good candidate for the blue option, for a blue card option. Because even on turns where we might draw into it, it can still start the combat chain and be the first link that we want. So Ronin Renegade, for all the same reasons we had Brand with Cinderclaw, we have Ronin Renegade. Does the same thing, 0 for 3 Go Again. No text on this card, but it's almost like Brand with Cinderclaw was textless for us anyway for what we're doing or what is in this deck. So we want 6 of these, 3 red, 3 blue. Up next, I think perhaps the most important card is Rising Resentment. So this also costs 0, is a 3-powered attack Go Again, but you don't necessarily want to start with Rising Resentment. You can if you have to, but I think you'd rather play this as Link 2 or 3. So let's read the card together. Rising Resentment. When Rising Resentment hits, you may banish an attack action card from your hand with cost less than the number of Draconic Chain Links you control. If you do, it costs one less to play, and you may play it this turn. Go again. So if we play this as Chain Link 1, we have cost less than. We have one Chain Link of Draconic. So we could play a 0 for -1, but it already costs 0. If we play this as Chain Link 2, we control 2 Draconic Chain Links. And if the cost of the card was less, so 1 or 0, then we can banish it and play it for 1 less. And then similarly, if it was the third link, 2 or less. So this card wants to follow up one of those starters. However, it's not the worst case scenario to have to start with it as well, because it's a 0 cost 3 go again. So the ability on the card pushes our game plan forward and is really strong. So I want to run 3 reds and 3 blues of this card, and I think it needs to be in the deck, both the reds and the blues. It's part of our 50 card core. I really like this card. Moving forward, we have Lava Vein Loyalties. So this is an interesting card because it has conditional go again. So it's a 0 for 3, kind of similar theme that you've seen here. Brandwood Cinderclaw, Ronin Renegade, Rising Resentment, and Lava Vein Loyalty are all 0 for 3s. However, this does not have an innate go again. It says if you control 2 or more Draconic Chain Links, Lava Vein Loyalty has go again. So you need to have followed up a previous Draconic Chain Link for this to have go again, because it can be the second one itself. However, it blocks for 3. And I think that's really important. I think we're starting to get to a point where we see fine. We're like, okay, we want to really hammer out these attacks. Give me the go agains, give me the go agains, give me the go agains. But there are going to be turns where your opponent is going to force you to block, and there are tons of cards, whether it's for an Ice Affliction you don't want to receive, some other type of thing like Erase Face, or whatever it may be. I think having 3 blocks is going to be important. So I don't want to cut this card. I want as many 3 blocks in my core as I can have in case I need to block out for a turn so it doesn't completely destroy me. And so I think this card holds value in multiple ways. Sure, it doesn't have its innate go again, but it probably will have go again because we're probably going to have played a Draconic Chain Link prior to this. However, that 3 block is extremely valuable. I'll trade the damage from another card, maybe being a 1 for 4 go again, like a Dust Runner, whatever that card is. I think the value of the block is important. So I value Lava Vein Loyalty highly. I think we run it in reds and blues. So 6 Lava Vein Loyalties. I think that's in our core too. Doesn't come out. And then Phoenix Form is another 0 cost. One of our Majestics. So these are all Draconic Ninja attacks that cost 0. If that's the way I've kind of been pulling them up. Brandwood Cinderclaw, Ronin Renegade, Rising Resentment, Lava Vein Loyalty, and Phoenix Form all cost 0. They're all Draconic Ninja attacks. All of them having go again or conditional go again, including this card. So Phoenix Form reads, if you control 1 or more Phoenix Flames, Phoenix Form has go again. If you control 2 or more, it has +2. If you control 3 or more, it has when this hits a hero, draw 3 cards. So this card is outstanding, especially because we should be able to control in our chain link at least 1 Phoenix Flame all the time. So at worst, it's a 0 for 3 go again. You can't start with this card, and that's fine, but it's outstanding. There's a reason why it's a Majestic. It blocks for 3, which I brought up previously. I think that's important. We're going to need cards that block at times. And I think you want this in your main deck, so that's a 3 of as well. Now, those all cost 0. I'm going to follow that up with the 1 cost Draconic Ninja attacks that we're using. And we'll start with Spreading Flames, the other Majestic. This card is the ideal combat chain link starter. So you start with Spread Flames, and then it reads Draconic attacks you control have +1, while their base power is less than the number of Draconic chain links you control. Go again. And it's a 1 for 3 go again, only blocks for 2, but the ability on this card is bananas. We can manage, right after we play this card, we're already on 2 Draconic chain links, so any card with 2 or less base power is going to get +1, and then once we get past that second, we're on 3, where a majority of our cards are 3 power base. So Spreading Flames is going to increase our damage output on the entire turn. It's awesome. I think this is a must include in one of the cards I'm most excited for, and I think it might be one of the best cards in our deck. So Spreading Flames, 3 of red, you want it in there. Then we want Mounting Anger. Mounting Anger is a 1 cost 4 power attack with go again. When Mounting Anger hits, you may banish an attack action card from your hand with cost less than the number of Draconic chain links you control. If you do, it gains +1, and you may play it this turn. So similar to Rising Resentment, except instead of decreasing the cost, if its innate cost is less than the amount of Draconic chain links we control, we get to boost its damage by 1, which is awesome. So Mounting Anger is a must add. 1 for 4 go again. It does everything we'd like. Innate go again. You can start with this, and then you could banish a card that costs 0 out of your hand and give it a +1. So let's say you had Mounting Anger and you started with Mounting Anger and it hits, then you may banish an attack action card from your hand with cost less than the number of Draconic chain links you control. And if we control 1 with Mounting Anger, we can banish a Rising Resentment. Then that Rising Resentment gets its +1, and it's coming in for 4 power, and then it has its claws, where then we could banish a 1-costed card out of our hand, and then play it for 1 less this turn. So Mounting Anger is awesome, and it synergizes really well with what we're trying to do. We want 3 red Mounting Angers in the deck, in the core of the deck. And then 3 blue Cinderskin Devotions. And this is going to wrap up the Draconic Ninja attacks in our main 50-card main deck. So Cinderskin Devotion is a 1 cost. If you control 2 or more Draconic chain links, Cinderskin Devotion has go again. So similar text to, or the exact same text as Lava Vein Loyalty. However, it also blocks for 3 and is a 1 for 2. So it's a 1 for 2 conditional go again, but the block for 3 is the really important part, and we're pitching it most of the time. So it's adding value to our deck where our stronger attacks do not. I think we want to leave this in purely for the fact that it's a blue pitch 3 block. It's valuable enough as is just on those, because Cinderskin Devotion and Lava Vein Loyalty are our only blue pitch 3 block cards. We're going to move on then from the Draconic Ninja attacks to Draconic attacks and which ones we include in. We'll start with the 0 cost first, just like I did before. So in our main, moving down to Draconic, give me a second please. We want to start with, I bet you wouldn't guess, Phoenix Flame. So Phoenix Flame is a 0 cost. If you control 2 or more Draconic chain links, Phoenix Flame has +1. So again, 1 prior to this, and then this one comes in, and since you do control 2 or more Draconic chain links, it gets +1 power with go again. This card is essential to our character because Phi himself can get Phoenix Flames out of the graveyard and put them back into his hand, into our hand. And then a lot of our cards synergize with Phoenix Flame, like Phoenix Form. So it's obviously a 3 include, even though it doesn't block. We start with 1 in the graveyard, and then there's ways to go get those other 2 and then get these cards back out of the graveyard into our hand. So this is the card that makes our whole deck work and function to increase our chain link size and apply additional pressure and threaten additional hits, which is good to synergize with the equipment that we wear and drawing cards and advancing our game plan. So Phoenix Flame is a 3 Phoenix Flame is a no-brainer, must be in the deck. And then Inflame, which synergizes with Phoenix Flame. Excuse me if I can find it. Inflame is a 0 cost, go again, 1 attack, but you don't want to have played this as the combat starter, the chain link starter. You want to follow this. You want this card to follow another red card, because it reads, when you attack with Inflame, if you've played another red card this turn, you may return a Phoenix Flame from your graveyard to your hand. So it's going to go get those Phoenix Flames out of our graveyard into our hand, just like Phi does, but we're going to get this ability easy without having to potentially pay resources using Phi's ability. And we can do this on Chainlink 2, as long as we've played another red card this turn. Well, not even Chainlink 2, I guess, if you've played like a Rise from the Ashes or something like that. But as long as it follows a red card, you can get a Phoenix Flame from your graveyard back into your hand. And it's kind of an annoying poke, like a Kodachi. Nobody wants to block this, and they'd rather save their equipment or save a card in their hand, which would then hopefully advance our Mask of Momentum, getting our 3 hits in a row. So Inflame is great. And then Flame Call Awakening, excuse me, is how we go and find Phoenix Flames out of our deck and put them into our hand. So this is a 1 cost, 3 attack, go again. However, you don't really want to start with Flame Call Awakening all the time, because just like the last card, when you attack with Flame Call Awakening, if you've played another red card this turn, you may search your deck for Phoenix Flame, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. So this obviously wants to follow up a red card or a red card attack or a red card action, or just be the second on the chain link after, let's say, like a Ronin Renegade. So we can go find that Phoenix Flame, put it in our hand, shuffle our deck, and we're advancing our gameplay. Plus a 1 for 3 go again with that ability is super strong. So we want this in the deck. It's core to what we're trying to do to get those Phoenix Flames as quickly as we can from our hand into the combat chain and then into the graveyard, so we can keep recurring them throughout the game. Flame Call Awakening is great. Then we're moving on to Rise Up. So Rise Up costs 1, just like Flame Call Awakening does. And it's kind of like the Phi specialization, even though it does say Dromai on there as well. It's a 1 cost, 3 power card, but it has the Rupture keyword. And Rupture is really interesting, and there's a lot of great cards that come with Rupture, but it needs to usually be the end of your combat chain, because most of them don't come with go again. Rupture reads, if Rise Up is played as Chainlink 4 or higher, it has Dominate and plus X power, where X is twice the number of Phoenix Flames you control. So if you have 1 Phoenix Flame, it gets plus 2. If you have 2 Phoenix Flames, it gets plus 4. So it could be a 5, a 7, or a 9. Because if you had 3 Phoenix Flames, twice the number, yeah, that's crazy. Dominate. So we want this card in our deck. However, because of the Rupture keyword, because it doesn't synergize necessarily perfectly all the time, because a lot has to work for this card to be extremely valuable, you can probably get it off with at least 1 Phoenix Flame and get the plus 2 Dominate, a 5 Dominate consistently. We only include 2 of these in our main board. Blocks for 3, which, like I said, is important. Maybe I'm wrong for only running 2. Maybe we do want 3 of these. I'm not sure. I'd love for you guys to tell me what you think in the comments below. So then that leaves us with 6 more cards, and they're not attacks. They are Draconic Ninja actions, and they are our Rise from the Ashes. And we're going to run 3 red and 3 blue. So the next Draconic or Ninja attack action card you play this turn gains plus 3, the blue giving a plus 1. However, the most important text reads, you may return a Phoenix Flame from your graveyard to your hand. So this is how we get Phoenix Flames back from our graveyard into our hand if it's not an Inflame, if it's not Phi. So I think it's extremely important. And a lot of those cards like Inflame or Flame Call Awakening say if you've played another red card. So it'd be really cool to play a Rise from the Ashes, get that +3, then play a Flame Call Awakening, go and find a Phoenix Flame, and get one out of your graveyard in the same turn. That's pretty awesome. So Rise from the Ashes gives us value in all of the colors, but I think we just want the reds and the blues for now. So that's going to make up our 50 card core. Let me go back to Phi himself for a second here. I didn't do a good job reading what Phi's ability is if you're a newer player trying to build, but it's a once per turn instant for 3 resources, or return a Phoenix Flame from your graveyard to your hand. This ability costs 1 less for each Draconic Chainlink you control. So he himself gets our Phoenix Flames out of the graveyard back into our hand, but at a cost, unless you get to, the 3rd Chainlink or higher. Then it's a free ability, essentially. So our 50 card core for Phi is our Draconic Ninja attacks, Brandwood Cinderclaw, Ronin Renegade, Rising Resentment, Lava Vein Loyalty, Phoenix Form, 6 Ronin Renegades, red, blue, 6 Rising Resentments, red, blue, 6 Lava Vein Loyalties, red, blue. And then 3 Spreading Flames, 3 Mounting Anger, 3 Cinderskin Devotions. Then our Draconic attacks are our Phoenix Flames, 3 of those, 3 Inflame, 3 Flame Call Awakening, 2 Rise Up, and then our Draconic Ninja actions, our non-attacks in the deck, our core, are 6 Rise from the Ashes. So that brings us to 50 cards, and I think that's a really solid core to start with. And then you can flex in 10 to 13 cards from the sideboard however you feel. But I think this is a great core to have. It offers some defense value, a great amount of attack power, and consistency for what Phi is trying to do in building Draconic Chainlinks. With that being said, let's talk about the sideboard. Now, what's in my sideboard is going to change and vary, and I don't even know if it's right, but I think this is just a good starting point for where we want our deck to be. And so our Draconic Ninja attacks, our Draconic Ninja attacks that are in the sideboard, I have 3 Engulfing Flame Wave. I seem to be the only person that loves this card. But I think if you're an aggressive matchup, I like this card because I think it offers a ton of value. Even though it costs 2, so it might take the place of swinging Emberblade. However, the payoff could be huge because it's a 2 for 5 go again. And when Engulfing Flame Wave hits, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an attack action card with cost less than the number of Draconic Chainlinks you control, banish it. You may play it this turn. So all of the other ones we have are from our hand, banishing it and then advancing it in some way, either making it cheaper, making its damage increase by 1. Well, Engulfing Flame Wave says, look at the top card of your deck. You might even get it, banish it, and then increase your hand size by 1 this turn. So I think this card is awesome, especially if you can decrease the cost of this. Like if you played Engulfing Flame Wave after a Rising Resentment and played this for 1, that's like value city. I think this is awesome. It could also start a combat chain link, and then you can hope maybe you hit a 0 off the top, and then you could play that. Any card that increases your hand size on hit is going to make your opponent stutter and think, perhaps I need to block this. I don't know if I can afford to let this card hit. Excuse me. So I want this card in my sideboard, and I'm not sure what matchups you'd put it in for, but if I'm trying to be super aggressive, I think I want this in. And then there are going to be times when I think you need to include additional blues. There's going to be a lot of ice, I think, in this current meta. And we have 15 blues in the core of the deck, but I think you might want to go up to 17. You can even maybe go up to 18 to deal with some ice afflictions because they're going to be extremely popular. And so I think a good blue to add would be Soaring Strike. It's a 1-for-2 go again, and then it has the text, when Soaring Strike hits, you may banish an attack action card from your hand with cost less than the number of Draconic Chain Links you control. If you do, it gains go again, and you may play it this turn. So you can see that theme is building up with the whole banish from your hand if it costs less than the number of Draconic Chain Links mechanic they've really built into this character. But I think this is a solid blue if you need to include 2 more of, and worst case, it's a 1-for-2 go again, even if the text really doesn't apply. I wish we had another blue Draconic attack that blocked for 3, but we don't, so I think this is our best option there. And then, just Draconic cards in the sideboard. I have 3 Thaw, and I think Thaw, for the same reason, I think we need to have some additional blues in the sideboard. I think Thaw needs to be in the sideboard because I think Ice is going to be extremely popular. It also can pop Phantasm, so it offers value in multiple ways. You're not playing this in most matchups unless you're playing against possibly Prism, Dromai to pop Phantasm, or then like Ice Lexi, Oldhim, or Icelander. So Thaw is awesome. While Thaw is in your graveyard at the start of your turn, you may banish it and choose 1. Destroy a target Frostbite, destroy target Ice Affliction, unfreeze target Frozen card. So as of right now, I think Thaw offers a lot of value. May this change in the future? Absolutely. But for now, I really like it. And then Breaking Point, which is a Rupture card. If Breaking Point is played as Chainlink 4 or higher, just like our other Rupture card, I'm sorry, excuse me, off the top of my head. Was it Rise Up? Yeah, Rise Up is our other Rupture card. If Breaking Point is played as Chainlink 4 or higher, it has, when it hits a hero, destroy all cards in their arsenal. So it's like a mini Command and Conquer. And I think like when you include the Engulfing Flame Wave, I think you bring in the Breaking Points too if you're trying to be super aggressive. And it blocks for 3, so adding 2 more 3 blocks to your deck is really awesome because Engulfing Flame Wave only blocks for 2. So I like this card as a Rupture card. I think it's awesome and offers a lot of value for 1, especially since I think it's pretty easy for us to get to Chainlink 4 or higher. And then we have the Tome of Firebrand. So that was 3 Thaws, 2 Breaking Points, and then 2 Tome of Firebrands. Now, Tome of Firebrand is interesting too. It's almost like a Rupture card. Play Tome of Firebrand only if you control 4 or more Draconic Chain Links. But you do have to have 4 because this one doesn't count for 1 itself. It's a Draconic instant. For 1, draw 2 cards. So I have to test with this. I have to see if I like the feel. In theory, it sounds good, but can this card get flexed out? It doesn't block, which we don't like, but it can increase our hand size and continue to give us options to continue to go wide. So I need to test with Tome of Firebrand, but right now in theory, 2 sounds good. And then I get a little goofy. I'm not going to be able to pull these up, so I'll just go back to 5 because it's not from this set. But I can just talk about it, and that's fine. So I have 2 Ancestral Empowerments, and I know there's some really new awesome attack reactions. What's it called? It's like Combustion Point is really awesome. Target Draconic or Ninja attack action card gains +1. But for it to really have value, you need to be on like Chainlink. You may banish a non-equipment defending card with defense less than the number of Draconic Chain Links you control. So if you have 3 Chain Links, you can only banish a 2 defense card. If you have 4, then you can banish a 3rd. And this costs 1. So there's a lot that needs to have. There's a lot that needs to happen for this card to work. And I feel like good old Ancestral Empowerment is just better. We run a ton of Ninja attack action cards. Draconic Ninja attack action cards. There's a ton of them. And so being able to give a +1, which could put us over a Breaking Point, and then to replace it and draw might just be better value straight up. And way easier to achieve. So right now I have 2 Ancestral Empowerments in my sideboard. 3 Erase Face. I can bring up Erase Face. That is from this set. Erase Face for the same reasons that I like Thaw. I like Erase Face because Erase Face is also a Phantasm Popper. Excuse me, I gotta find it though. It's a Phantasm Popper. Attacks for sick, costs 2, just like Thaw does. However, the ability on Erase Face is crazy. When Erase Face hits a hero, cards and tokens they own lose all class and talent types until the end of their next turn, which can totally shut down what your opponent is doing. It can shut down Dromai, everything. It can shut down everyone. This might be the most insane on-hit effect of all time. So this demands attention. So I think we want 3 of these. I think as you're going to see 3 of these in a lot of people's decks and in a lot of sideboards for the same reasons. And then finally, I'm not going to pull this card up, but Art of War. 3 Art of War. I need to test to see what amount of Art of War is the right choice, 3 or 2. But it just, in theory, it sounds so good, right? You're going to pick +1 and banish every time. And if you're doing it on a turn with the Tunic, then, oh my goodness, your Tunic resource, play Art of War, +1 banish, that's extremely good value. And it seems like it's going to be so crazy good in Fi. So 3 Art of War is for sure in the list. So to recap, the 20 sideboard cards are 3 Engulfing Flame Wave, 2 Soaring Strike Blue, 3 Thaw, 2 Breaking Point, 2 Tome of Firebrand, 2 Ancestral Empowerment, 3 Erase Face, and 3 Art of War for now. And again, the link to my list will be in the video description. And then I'd like to talk about the equipment that I'm using. So let's start with the Fendel Spring Tunic, probably being our go-to chest piece because of the value it offers. However, we do have the new legendary, the Flamescale Furnace, in the sideboard. The 2-block Temper makes it worthy of a sideboard slot instantly because there are going to be times where you're playing against Guardian and other decks that like to dominate or throw big attacks, or maybe that come with crucial on-hit effects where you're going to want the block instead of the value of the Tunic resource every 3 turns. And so the block on Flamescale Furnace alone puts it in our sideboard. So those are our 2 chess pieces. I don't need to talk about the headpiece because Mask of Momentum is the only headpiece that you will ever run. It never comes out and always stays in. It's too good, and it advances our game plan too efficiently, and it has 2-block Blade Break, even if you have to block with it, which you won't want to, but when you do, it's still valuable with the 2-block. As far as arms are concerned, we have Stubby Hammers probably making it into most matchups because of what it offers for that crazy go-off turn. They like restricted this card in Blitz, and I wouldn't be surprised if it also got restricted in Classic Constructed. But until that day happens, I think Stubby Hammers is the way to go. But then just like how we said we valued the Flamescale Furnace for the block, the new legendary, the Tiger Stripe Shuko, has a 2-block Blade Break. The ability on it won't always be relevant, but it could be. I don't know if the Tiger Stripe is in here. Let's see if I can pull it up. It is in here. Awesome. So the second attack action card with cost, or excuse me, the second attack action card with 2 or less base power you play each turn has +1. A damage that would be dealt by this can't be prevented. So that ability is good, but it's the second attack action card with 2 or less base power. So how often is that going to happen? It will happen in fight. We're playing a lot of cards that have 1 attack. Our Phoenix Flames, our In Flames. There's ways for this to happen. And then our blues that usually have a 1 or 2 base power. There's ways for this to happen, and I do think it offers value. And if Stubby Hammers went away, then the Tiger Stripe Shuko would for sure be the arm slot answer. And then we have the Snapdragon Scalers as our go-to legs, because it can offer go again on some of those cards that perhaps we run into an awkward situation with Lava Vein Loyalty, or we want to give a Rupture card go again, or whatever it may be. I think Snapdragon Scalers still offers a lot of value, especially when there's not really a better option. And then we have our Null Rune package of our Null Rune robes, our Null Rune boot, or excuse me, not boots, our Null Rune gloves, right? Was that what they're called? Gloves? Yeah, Null Rune gloves. And then our new card, the Tide Flippers, which I can pull up, which have an Arcane Barrier of 1 as well. So we have Arcane Barrier 3 if we went with the robes, the Tide Flippers, and the gloves. And this has an ability as an attack reaction: destroy the Tide Flippers, target attack action card with 2 or less base power gains go again. So an ability you're probably not going to use much, but you're going to run this because of the Arcane Barrier 1. So that is about it. I think I touched base with everything. I wanted to give you this update on where I kind of stand with my initial list and my initial thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think. I don't claim to be a Fi or Ninja expert. I just think this would be a good start to the deck, and I think it will offer a lot of strength, and I can't wait to see what its weaknesses are, what its strengths are, and then change it throughout the course of the upcoming season. So thank you. I hope you appreciated the video. I want to shout out TCG Talk. He puts out great content for Fi and Ninjas. Go give him a watch and a subscription and a like on his videos, and just you know, sit back and enjoy the show, because you're gonna watch me be on tilt with this character over the next 3 to 5 months. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy the video, and until next time, thanks for sitting at the table. Peace out.